Today we have Nissan's offering in the subcompact class. It's competitive, there's a lot to choose from, and today this is the 2018 Nissan Kicks. This is the SR trim level, it's the top trim level, so we got some goodies on here. We're gonna see exactly what this thing has to offer, check out the exterior, the interior, even go for a test drive. Let's get started. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in for this Nissan Kicks review. Before we get started, I want to give a big thank you and shout out to Fenton Nissan in Rockwall, Texas. They were super generous to let me take this out today. They got it ready and washed up. If you're in the DFW area, please be sure to check them out, and I'll put all their information down below. So starting on the exterior of the Kicks, we get LED headlights with that LED signature that you've seen on some other Nissans. We get a dark chrome front accent grille as well. Plus, on this SR trim, we even get those fog lights down there. In this color, it's called Aspen White. It does have a little bit of a metallic-y flake. And one thing I really like is the black trim pieces that you get with it and the black roof up there. What do y'all think of that? I wanna know what you think. As far as the wheels, you'll get anywhere from 16 to 17-inch wheels, and those will have 205 wood tires on them. As for the brakes, you'll have vented disc brakes in the front and drum brakes in the back. On this SR trim, we do get the glossy black mirrors with the turn signals in them as well. I like that glossy black. It goes well with this white color and with some of the other black accents that we have. We'll talk more about the ride and handling in the test drive, but the suspension gives you an independent front and a torsion beam in the rear, and that's only front wheel drive. We do get roof rails up there as well. And on the SR trim, we get this black, just like on the roof, this black rear roof spoiler. And then we have halogen taillights in the back. In terms of some safety features, we do get emergency automatic braking and blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic alert. All right, so for the Kicks cargo area, it's not a power tailgate, but we do have a little button that we can push right under there. And then on top of that, we have a little grab handle, which is always nice to help you get that down. So behind the back seats, we get 25.3 cubic feet, and I've got a carry-on luggage and a little tripod right there to give you an idea of what it looks like. This is actually a pretty tall load floor, or a pretty low load floor, I should say. That gives you kind of a good amount of height based off how deep that is. And underneath of here, thankfully, we get a compact spare tire, not a full size, but with the jack kit as well. We do have split folding seats. Let me show you how to fold those down right now. It's really easy to fold it down. I've already got that one down. All you gotta do, lift this little knob, and that unleashes it, and then boom, there you go. They're not as flat as I was hoping for, but when you got them down, it does give you some more space, about 32.3 cubic feet. Plus the SR gives us this cargo cover. You can of course remove that with the little straps right there. So the Nissan Kicks gives us this key fob, typical Nissan key fob, but that means we actually have remote start and proximity key, the smart key system. So the way it works on the Nissan Kicks is, in order to unlock it and lock it, push that button, the mirror will flash. Now it's unlocked. And to lock it, you can just push that button again, you're good to go. Hopping into the front seat of the Kicks, we do get some pretty cool, interesting looking seats. We have some orange stitching in a couple areas, even some of the orange material that I'll show you on the door rest, on the kind of the thigh cushion portion. And these are 6-way manual. There's sport cloth seats on this SR trim level. If you want, you could get the synthetic leather, which would be heated, but there's no power option and there's no lumbar. So comfort wise, they're a little bit firm, but I think the lumbar support is good enough considering it's not an adjustable lumbar. And at 5'9", when I sit up tall, I've got the seat in the bottom portion of its track because it's got a pump action up and down. I can put more than a fist above my head, so that's pretty awesome. The steering wheel does have a pretty decent range of motion, especially for the size of the vehicle, both tilt and telescopically. Let's take a quick look at the Kicks interior. We do have this soft, it's not necessarily padded, but it is soft cloth material, orange and black, just like our seats. Hard touch materials pretty much everywhere else on the door, but we do have a pretty good sized storage bin, a big bottle holder. Let me show you that my big bottle actually fits. So that's great. That's really nice to see in a vehicle of this size. And then automatic up-down driver's windows. Right next to that, we even have a pretty good sized storage cubby, and my iPhone Plus does actually fit widthwise. It just sticks out a little bit, but that's fine. Fuel door and hood opener right there. The door is pretty solid, and then as we move inside, you even get a leather wheel with a flat bottom, little leather wrapped around your shifter, and then the synthetic leather running across the dash with that orange stitching. I think that's a pretty nice touch for a vehicle of this class and this price point. So let's go ahead and start it up. As long as you got the key with you, we have push button start, foot on the brake. Like I said, the steering wheel is leather wrapped. You do have little sport grips, and you even have little orange stitching on the inside as well with that flat bottom and a little hole in the middle. Steering wheel controls for our information display, radio, voice controls, cruise control, and you use the controls on the steering wheel to control the 7-inch driver assistance display. And you can have it set for the tachometer, you can have it set for music, different trip computer settings here, general information that you can see, speedometer if you want. You know, it's pretty awesome. Your driving aids when your safety features are going, and then you can customize a lot of stuff on here too. So definitely a really nice display, a pretty basic gauge cluster over there, and I think it's a really nice front part of the Nissan Kicks. Now as we go move across the dash, you can see your air vents. This is hard touch plastic up here, but like I said, this is the nice soft synthetic leather, gives it a nice feel. And then our radio here, we have a 7-inch screen, 6 speaker system, and everything is really easy to use. You can scroll through, you can customize what you have where. You've got shortcuts for your phone, your menu, audio, and your camera over there, which I'll show you in a little bit. But everything seems to work pretty well on here. I do like this touch screen. You do have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM as well on this trim. Everything, it's a really nice package. You do have real volume knob over here, a real tuning knob over there, something that seems to be going away in vehicles nowadays. But let's go ahead and hit the camera button. So when I hit camera, we have this around view monitor, something I absolutely did not expect in this trim level, but right now the camera's actually showing you the front, which is really cool, and it has dynamic lines for the front of the vehicle. And then of course you can see around the vehicle over there if you're parking or anything next to you. Pretty sweet. But when I go ahead and put it in reverse, then of course it shows us our backup camera with dynamic lines as well. And as we move down from there, we do have automatic climate control. It is not dual zone, it's single zone, but it's really easy to use. Temperature controls here, you can have it on automatic, fan speed, basic buttons running across. And then just down below that we have a USB port, auxiliary port, 12-volt power outlet, and a little storage bin right down here as well. It's a little bit deeper than it looks, and the nice thing is we have stitching and some decently soft padding on both sides next to our knees. So decent little center console right there. There's our push button start. Here's our gear selector for our CVT transmission. Just had it in reverse for the backup camera, as you can see. Going back, this is where things get a little bit tight, where some of the space is cut. But first of all, let me show you this armrest. This is the folding armrest. It's not ratcheting, but it does stop right there. It is soft. So if you're a little bit bigger, broader shoulders, your arms might be falling off the side, but otherwise it's a pretty comfortable place. Now these cup holders are kind of small. This bottle right here does not fit in there. I can kind of wedge it and it'll stay, but it does fit in the door pocket, so that works. And we have an actual e-brake, something you don't see very much of anymore either. No electronic parking brake. 2 more USB ports right here. And then this is our center console. There's not even an armrest right here for the other passengers, so something to keep in mind. But there is a little storage bin right there. Then checking across the dash for our glove box. It is soft opening, and it's pretty good size, and it even has a light inside. No automatic dimming mirror in this trim, but we do have a vanity mirror and light right there. And then on these visors, we have a really giant sliding piece actually, and these visors are pretty big for a vehicle of this size. Now going around to take a look at visibility, in the Nissan Kicks, that second window's pretty good size, and that pillar's probably about what you'd expect, but visibility's not too bad. Plus we have blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert. And the blind spot indicator is right there and not in the mirrors, right on the pillar there. So hopping into the back seat, we get the same material on the door, hard touch everywhere except this armrest with this nice soft cloth material. Do have a bottle holder down there. And as we hop inside, space is actually better than you would expect. We do have a mat pocket on each seat. As far as leg space, I've actually got pretty good foot space, and I can sit behind myself at 5'9" with a little bit of space for my knees right there. One thing is that there's not a center folding armrest with a cup holder or anything right here. Like I showed you in the front, we do have the 2 USB ports right there, and then I suppose the center console could actually act as a water bottle holder. Maybe that's what it's supposed to be, but it works for me. It works for a backseat passenger. But overall, it's not a bad place to be. We do have a grab handle on each side, and then when I sit up tall, I can sit here without my head touching, and I have a little bit of room above my head. So not bad at all for a small car. All right, let's take a look under the hood and see what we've got in this Kicks. So we've got a prop right there, of course. This gives us a 1.6 liter 4-cylinder engine that'll put out 125 horsepower, 115 pound-feet of torque. Not big numbers, but this is a pretty lightweight car, and we're gonna do driving impressions in a little bit. That's paired with the Xtronic CVT transmission that you get in some other Nissans. Plus, this is only front-wheel drive. There's no all-wheel drive available, but with the front-wheel drive, you'll get 31 miles per gallon in the city and 36 miles per gallon on the highway. All right, everybody, we are on the test drive portion for the 2018 Nissan Kicks SR. And like I said, there's only one powertrain option, but my initial impression of this vehicle is that it's actually pretty easy and kind of fun to drive around for the power numbers that it has. It's got a really light steering wheel. It's very easy to maneuver. It's a lightweight car, so that's a big plus considering the actual power numbers. In terms of actual acceleration, so we're on a street that, you know, I can't really get on it yet, but it's definitely not fast. And of course, you're not going to want to race anybody with this thing, but it really feels a lot quicker than what you would expect for the numbers. Like I said, it's lightweight. There's not actually a manual mode, but you can shift into a low mode. No paddle shifters or anything, but the CVT on these Nissan cars does a good job of keeping you where you need to be in order to get the amount of power that you need. Braking is pretty good. I really like the feel of these brake pedals. It's linear, you don't have to smash on it, and it gives you a good firm feeling for your foot. All right, let's get on it. Okay, so the cool thing about the CVT is it actually kind of mimics the shifts for you to make it feel, certainly make it feel a little bit more like a natural stepped gear transmission. And we're on a little bit of a rougher texture road, and it's really quieter in here than I was expecting. Now we just got off onto a quieter road, and this is pretty smooth. It really is. I can hear a little bit of wind noise right now, but that's, you know, you kind of have to expect that for $22,000. But I do like the steering wheel. It's kind of unique having a flat bottom steering wheel. The overall ride comfort is pretty good. It seems to be pretty neutral. We'll have to go around a turn here or two and see how the balance is, but it's pretty soft. I hit a couple bumps and nothing, you know, really jarred me or shook me or was violent, so that's nice. In just my short time in here, like I said, rougher texture road back there, but it was quieter than I was expecting. But even though there's a little bit of wind noise, I haven't heard or noticed any rattles in my short time of driving it. So in terms of maybe passing power, we're going about 40. We get on it. And that got us up to 55 relatively quickly, a little bit quicker than I expected. Like I said, it's not fast. You definitely don't want to race anybody in this thing, but considering the power output and getting the MPGs that you get, 36 on the highway with all the space in the back, it's not too bad at all. For turning, I'm going to get on it here a little bit. So the steering is really lightweight, which makes it really easy to handle, but on the other side of that, there's a little bit of guessing involved to know exactly where you're going to go. I didn't really notice a ton of body roll, and we weren't going real fast around a sharp turn or anything, but it was pretty planted. Nothing that would get you upset. Let's check out the turning radius here. Do a little U-turn. Oh, that's nothing. That was pretty good. This light steering wheel makes it so easy. I think this would be an excellent little subcompact if you're in the urban area, if you've got some tight parking spots or some maneuvering you need to do. I do wish there was a sport mode or a manual mode or something to try to kind of get the most out of the transmission. So from a standstill, so let's go again around the turn. More simulated shifts. The CVT is pretty quick to try to drop the RPMs, which is nice. So it's definitely going to help you with its MPGs. And when it's down, you don't really hear anything from that powertrain. It's actually a pretty quiet powertrain overall. You do hear it, of course, when the RPMs get up. So when it comes to the subcompact class, personally, I've recently seen a Honda HR-V, a Toyota CHR, and a Hyundai Kona, and they all are different in so many ways. It seems like they're kind of trying to attract different people for different things, but this definitely has lower power numbers, but it honestly feels faster than the Toyota CHR. And probably, honestly, the Honda HR-V too. Neither of those were fast at all. This isn't fast at all. The Hyundai Kona probably has it a little bit, but it's got a 2-liter engine. And but this gets better MPGs than all of those. You still get decent space back there. I, at 5'9", can fit in the back seat. No problems with leg space and head space. And here, I'm just fine. It's just a little crammed in the middle area. There's not a real center armrest, which is kind of one thing for your passengers. But you got 3 USB ports. You got a touch screen. You got a pretty cool digital display. Automatic emergency braking, blind spot monitoring information. So a pretty good package from Nissan with this $22,000 Kicks. And that's going to be a conclusion for this video of the Nissan Kicks. I thank y'all so much for watching. Please be sure to subscribe and click the bell down below. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Leave your thoughts and comments down below. Thank y'all so much, and we'll see you next time.